So yeah, the Celtics have been horrible lately. Let's just call a spade a spade. We don't even need to call a spade because it's obvious in their record. They're 1-4 in their last 5. Really, really bad. They looked horrible and sluggish against the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. In the other 3 losses, they blew double-digit leads. And most notably against the Nets, they blew a 28-point lead. The funny thing is that they haven't really looked good in over a month, but we're starting to see some concerning trends. They can't hold leads, they're complaining, they're living and dying by the 3. It's really not good. This is not the dominant team we saw in 2022 in November and December when they were blowing everyone out, and their defense was great. We're seeing a team that plays entitled, that thinks they're just going to walk in and win. Is it time to panic? I personally don't think so. It's in the dog days of the season. It's tough right now. People are sort of coming and going. There's injuries, there's nags. It's tough. March and April are really, really hard months. So I don't think it's time to panic, but I think it's time to correct it. And so for me, when I look at the problems, there's about 5 of them. The first problem right now has been Jason Tatum, the superstar, the guy that should lead us to the promised land. He has been really bad. Yes, he was incredible in that Cleveland Cavs win, where he had 41 points and shot 67% from the field. 100%. He won that game. Without him there, we lose that game. But in the other 3 games, he has been really bad. Against the Knicks at Madison Square Garden, he was horrendous. And then the Nets, he was just absolutely dreadful. And in the Knicks, he let us down in overtime. The next issue is the health of the Celtics, because it's been really bad. I feel like every game when the Celtics post the injury report, I groan. It's been 2 pages on Twitter a couple of times. So it hasn't been good and the Celtics have not been at full strength. But for a couple of these games, it still isn't an excuse to me. When you have fourth quarter leads, especially double-digit leads, I don't care who's on the court, you gotta keep that lead. But nonetheless, when you don't have your core players playing, it's hard to get the rhythm. Then sometimes when key players come back, it is also hard to get in rhythm. So until the Celtics can figure out how to stay healthy, it's gonna be tough. There was questions around the All-Star break about would the Celtics go for the 1 seed or would they prioritize health. They have clearly prioritized health over getting the 1 seed because I think they learned from the Warriors series in the finals what happens when your team runs out of gas. So I respect it, but it's going to result in 1-4 skids. The next big reason is the Celtics trade deadline, or should I say lack thereof. Yes, Mike Muscala is a great shooter, and he's made some key shots over the last few games. However, that just isn't enough, especially for a contending team. I felt the Celtics had obvious holes with the big man, but they didn't address it. You know that Robert Williams isn't going to be available sometimes. You know Al Horford's getting older. The Celtics should have gotten a good backup big. They should have gotten Jakob Poeltl instead of Toronto. It wasn't a giant trade haul. It could have been done. But Mike Muscala just isn't enough. The depth doesn't feel too great right now. Besides Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White, and maybe Sam Hauser, I don't feel too good about the depth. And definitely don't feel too good about the big man depth. This next point is sort of a good transition from my prior point about the Celtics trade deadline and not addressing a big man. This issue is Robert Williams. He's just not reliable. He's hurt every other game. He's always on the injury report and he's always battling something. Robert is a fantastic talent. He's an incredible defender and an incredible rebounder, and when he's on the court, he's a massive game changer. But that has been a big if all the way back to last year. Even looking at his career, he doesn't log a ton of games. He's constantly missing time. So it's really hard. They say the best ability is availability, and Robert Williams just hasn't been available. This final point is head coach Joe Mazzulla. I was shocked that the Celtics got rid of the interim tag for Joe around the All-Star break. The timing was odd, but I think it had something to do with Joe coaching one of the All-Star teams in Utah, and Joe getting introduced as interim head coach might be a bad look for the Celtics. But who cares? I would have loved to have seen him coach the rest of the way, go into the playoffs, take the Celtics all the way to the championship and win it all like Paul Westhead did with the Lakers, and then you give Joe the title. But since Joe was made permanent head coach, I really feel like his coaching has suffered. His in-game coaching has been really bad with his timeout usage. You'd think during all of these blown leads in the past 5 games he might call a timeout, but no. He makes the Celtics sweat it through, and before you know it, that lead's evaporated. I mean, look, Joe's a young head coach, he's a rookie head coach, so he's going to make mistakes and sort of learn on the job. So I don't think that's going to be a problem down the road and in the playoffs, but definitely an area of criticism these past 5 games. So the Celtics got about 15-20 games left in the regular season. Let's get healthy, let's play better with more urgency, and then it's on to the playoffs. As I'm recording this video, they're actually playing the Blazers and they're up pretty big. So hopefully these adjustments continue to happen. And let's go Celtics. Hey, thanks for watching. Click the button below to subscribe.